Work for Europe, people. Episode, I don't know. But hello and welcome.
Welcome. Good evening.
Hello.
Ooh, who do we have here?
My name is Erik.
Erik who?
Let me try this one. Let me do a Keith on his name. Gullikson.
That's actually really good. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Erik Gullikson. You got it.
We don't need Keith for anything anymore.
It's a good Irish name.
Yeah.
It's Irish.
No. My heritage is mostly Norwegian, actually, but it's
everything's son is Norwegian.
It's an Ellis Island special,
Eriksson, Peterson, Gullikson.
So, yeah. Norwegian, but I've been in Ireland for a while.
Yeah.
Nearly 20 years, 18 years.
But you are Norwegian.
No, I'm American, technically, by passport.
Oh. Okay, you're going to have to explain this.
Yeah. I mean, I was born in the States. I'm a Florida man, actually. I was born in Florida.
Oh, Lordy, we have a Florida man.
I know. I'm technically a Florida man, which is amazing.
Very nice.
But I grew up largely around the Chicago area. And then I moved to Ireland when I was 24, 25 to follow the love of my life. And
wow.
Here I am a bit later. A good bit later.
How much later are we talking?
Yeah, I think it's been 16 or 17 years, actually, since I came to Ireland. And I've been here the whole time. I never went back to the States.
So, how old were you when you went to Ireland?
Honestly, I can't remember the exact age. I think I was 25, maybe 24.
Oh,
24 or 25.
Your accent just changed so much.
Do I not sound American?
No, you sound very Ireland.
Yeah. Get a few more beers into me tonight, and you won't be able to understand me.
That's great. But that's also very Irish. So
yeah, it's handy.
Yeah,
it's handy having a bit of a.
I wouldn't have guessed that if you go to Ireland, like when you're that old, the accent still adapts so much.
I suppose, yeah. I'm sure we'll get into this at some point, but I was actually a musician for a large part of my life.
So you could have done the intro.
Well, I am sitting in what used to be a music studio right now.
Oh Lord, this is going to be a great one.
Yeah. So yeah, it's been a journey for sure. It's interesting that I'm sitting here with you guys, and not somewhere completely different, with a completely different profession. It's been a real random journey, I would say.
Well, let's start at the start.
Yeah,
I would say
rock and roll.
Mm-hmm.
Which start? Like, crying baby start,
birth.
Or
yeah, let's skip birth.
Yeah, birth was awesome. Loved every second of it.
How long ago was that?
My birth?
Yeah, must have been 40 something years, right?
I'm 41 now.
Yeah.
1983. The start of childhood.
Fuck it. Yeah, let's do life in general.
Life. I mean, I studied philosophy in college, so
really,
yeah, I'm all about whatever you want to talk about. Really, I don't.
Up to what degree? Do you have a master's degree or bachelor?
No, but I have a undergrad in philosophy.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a master's in music composition.
You studied philosophy.
Yeah, studied is a loose term.
You went to school.
I took some courses and did some things, skimmed some Kant and Kierkegaard and Charles Taylor. I don't know. I'm sure you know more names than I do. I have a Socrates tattoo on my arm. One of the best quotes ever. Most of my favorite philosophical quotes are from Socrates, actually. A lot of them are old. The unexamined life is not worth living, It's a good one. so yeah, I studied philosophy, and I was really a musician in college. I was playing jazz music, playing piano from, kind of my teens through college years, and I was gigging a lot around Chicago in college. And after I graduated, I basically was just a gigging musician straight away, just working musician. But I had met my now wife, Ruth, studying in UCC in Cork for a semester when I was 21. And we did long distance for a couple of years, and then I moved to Ireland. And started working as a musician here. And that basically continued for about 15 years, I'd say. I was a musician, hustling, gigging and producing and mixing. I was also kind of like the eternal student. I kept doing music degrees just to get visas initially. I did an HDip, higher diploma, they call it, which is like a year classification. I don't know if that's standard across Europe or if that's an Irish thing. I'm not sure. An HDip, but I did an HDip in composition to get my first visa, and then I did a master's in composition to get my second visa, and then I got a visa based on our relationship, and then we got married a few years later. So, that sort of continued, and there were ups and downs. Music, I would not wish upon anyone as a career. I think music is amazing. You know, it's been a huge part of my life.
Said every musician ever.
Yeah. So, a lot of ups and downs for sure. I opened some really cool doors that I peeked into, relative to songwriting and composition. You know, I did some time in LA with different producers as a writer. And I was kind of sniffing around the right doors, and it's just it's really cutthroat. And maybe this is just me, but in all the years that I was doing this stuff, I don't know if I ever met someone. Maybe I was just unlucky. If I ever met someone that I felt like, oh, I really want my life to look like your life. Like that looks good, you know. That looks balanced and rewarding. Yeah.
I think as a musician, like there's so few that have like the perfect, air quote, you know, perfect life.
Yeah.
It's kind of like soccer and you know, things like everyone looks like wants to be Cristiano Ronaldo, but that's like not doable for the majority.
Are you a musician? Sounds like you have experience.
No, I don't. But it's just life in general is like that. It's everyone tries to be or you know what is the perfect life as a musician? You know?
Yeah.
Is it like the famous people?
I think it's changed a lot in the last 10 years, even like really since streaming. I think
definitely.
It's gotten way harder for people who aren't pop stars, basically, you know?
Yeah.
Like, unless you're offering something that's flashy and very relevant and current, it's the kind of niche musicians or, you know, singer-songwriter types.
There's like in this day and age, there's a sort of like a comeback from that, I think, because the more flashy and you know the like back in the day, I would look up to the main. I don't want to say mainstream, but you know the pop stars and all people like that. And now when I'm older and I look at them and I feel bad for them.
Yeah.
You know, there's only a few artists where I think like, man, you're living a dream, and those are the people that don't have contracts with like big labels and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's like any career, though. I mean, the more success you have, it depends. It all depends on what the framework is, right? I mean, and that's that. I think my time in music, and not to jump, you know, a bunch of years here, but my time in music, I think, has really allowed me to have a much clearer vision of how I want my life to be as a bladesmith, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's really helped me kind of stick to a vision. And I guess I've been lucky enough to, I don't know, how do you phrase it? Ease into it, I guess, because I didn't make a hard transition. My life wasn't dependent on bladesmithing from day one, you know? So I was able to kind of ease into it a bit and stick to that vision. But I think, all my time in music definitely helped me realize that, like you said, like if you become a kind of a slave to a structure or something greater that's, you know, pulling the strings to an extent,
Mm-hmm.
then what are you doing, you know? Yeah. So, you're absolutely right. I agree. There is no perfect life, full stop, is there? And it's just
No, there's not. But what you said, like when vision, like what? There's nothing to achieve, nothing you can achieve if you don't have a like vision.
Yeah.
And direction, you know, because if you have a vision, you have a direction, and you have a path to go, and you can stray from the path, like. In any direction, but like if the end goal is something real, you know, something that you have in mind, you'll get there.
Yeah. Well, you'll get somewhere anyway.
Yeah. Well, you get somewhere, and if it's not, you can talk about that for a long time. But
yeah. We're gonna put everyone to absolute sleep with our philosophizing.
Let's not do that.
No. Philosophy is good, though. It's good to think, you know? I think it's good to be conscious.
It's necessary to think.
Although...
and I'm missing a lot of that.
Yeah. You're missing it. What do you mean?
In general. Just like around me and especially like online and stuff, you know?
Yeah, that's a whole other.
I used to love looking at like sports and stuff like that. And now when there's like a conversation between two great thinkers, that's like a Champions League match for me. Yeah, it's true. It's I fucking love it.
That's awesome. Where do you like just on YouTube or something, or where do you watch?
Yeah, I don't. There's no. I'm not going to name drop them because people think a lot about. You know, they're all. How do you say that? Well, fuck it. I can't say it. If you like a conversation between fucking Brent Weinstein and Jordan Peterson, for example. Like those are great thinkers. I know they're labeled extremist and I don't know what, but they're genuine, smart, deep thinkers that I don't know. It's almost like music to me if they converse.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to check them out. I'm not familiar with you though. Probably should be.
Depends on
my political views.
It depends on your political. Nah, does it? I don't know. Maybe. Like people, they think a lot about these days. It's like left, right. You have to be like with a certain group of people to like someone or to not like someone, which is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, no, I'll check them out. Doesn't really matter. If they're interesting and well thought out, then why not? Right?
What about you, Mr. PhD in philosophy?
What do you mean? What's the question?
There wasn't a question.
Do you like thinking?
Of course.
Are you a deep thinker, Albert?
I've been doing this I've worked in professional philosophy for over a decade. So I did my PhD and then I took up a postdoc position in Munich and then one in Bayreuth. So I was a professional philosopher for, I don't know, more than 10 years. Yeah.
Wow.
But it's the same as with music, right? It's super tough to get a job, and if you're lucky, you can support your family and make a living doing philosophy, but only, I don't know, 2 out of 100 people are able to do so. So the competition is super tough. It's the same in music, I suppose.
I think what I like about, I mean, you make steel and knives, right? You make both.
Yeah.
Do you are you primarily one or the other, or is it fairly equal? Not to turn around the questioning here, but I'm just curious.
No, it's more knives than steel.
Okay.
If we talk in revenue.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's more knives than steel.
Yeah. So I mean, for me coming from music, it was very, and I guess I'm finally getting over that honeymoon period a little bit now. But initially, it was like earth shattering that I could just make something and people were interested and thought that it had value and would just pay me money, and then I give them the thing, and then that's it. It's like so simple, like nice and transactional. You know? And that's actually not how I see my work at all. I don't see it as like purely transactional, very much beyond that. But
how do you see your work?
I'm trying not to take everything like to the nth level of deepness here. That's just kind of naturally how I think about things. I see it as, for me, my work is a great outlet of my obsessive energy and my creativity. And I find it very rewarding to be able to channel that and apply myself, to something that's difficult and that takes a lot of focus and takes a lot of planning and takes a vision to bring something together that's special in the end, and then ultimately put the finishing touches on, and the bird flies the nest. And that, but I really care about every single piece that I make. I think because I'm so obsessive,
Do you how do you feel about it? It has to go away at some point. It has to go to a customer. How do you feel about that?
That moment.
Yeah.
Do you know, I feel good about it. It actually kind of surprises me how okay I am with that moment. I don't know if that speaks to my greater lack of, well, that's the wrong way to say it. I think I'm always interested by new things, new things very much drive me. I think, which is why I was so drawn to bladesmithing when I started as a hobby, kind of a while ago, probably 8 or 9 years ago, maybe 10 years ago at this stage. Is that it's just such a vast field. It's like you need all of the fields kind of like making stuff to be able to, get kind of maximum potential out of any creative idea. So I think it's like, I love kind of that challenge of, bringing together a design, hopefully achieving is the wrong word, realizing that design in the best way possible, and then letting it go and just going on to the next idea, the next challenge, very much see it like as a cycle, I guess, of that sort of way.
So do you make knives for a customer, or does a customer buy your knife?
A bit of both. I have customs now full for this year. But I'll also be working on a few drops throughout the year, and I'm kind of constantly sort of rejigging that balance. It's been a fairly steep learning curve for me, running my own business in this regard, because it's very different to what I did for a long time. And it's been relatively quick that I've kind of gotten busy with bladesmithing. So it felt like every like 2 or 3 months there's like this big like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done things that way. Like, for example, I'll give you an example. At the moment, all of my customs that I'm working on now, I think I took around, I think it was probably June or something last year, when I was sort of doing the designs with people and talking through their specs and everything. And I obviously went through a period where I was just like over-promising. I was like, this period of like, yeah, I can definitely do that, and I can definitely do that, And I had like a couple in a row where I had to go back to customers and just be like, this is not going to work the way we talked about it. So we need to tweak something here. And, the good thing is I try to develop a relationship really with every customer. I do a video meeting if possible with people. It's nice to just see a face and have a chat, and I think
that's a very good idea.
Yeah, just have a video meeting and just attach an actual human to the knife that you're going to make. And that's ultimately, a knife is useless without a person. So I try to really marry like the science and the art, I guess, and that the human side of it is very much important to me. So yeah, luckily I kind of develop a relationship with most of my customers that way. So people are pretty cool usually if there's any kind of issue, but I haven't had too many issues. But if there are issues, I kind of just very straightforward with people and say, this needs to be tweaked. And they're like, cool. And yeah, it's all good.
I never thought of it like that. It's actually pretty cool. You want to attach like a main character to the story.
Yeah.
Very
much so.
To the adventure.
Yeah, I do. I do a thing called 2 words, which is I ask people to give me 2 words that would sort of capture the soul of their knife, if you will. And
nice. Why 2 words?
And it's something that really comes from songwriting for me, from music.
That was like, my question.
Yeah, like when you're like any of your favorite songs, like the truly great songs, all of them are really obvious in their own way. Mm-hmm. They all have a strong theme, strong spark, strong message, strong emotion, but they're all kind of rooted in something quite simple usually, and it was always an exercise that I did if I was working with a songwriter and when I was writing my own songs was, how do I basically simplify all of the lyrics that I'm about to write into like half a sentence? Like, how do you say what you need to say in the song in the shortest possible way?
That's hard because it requires a lot of thinking.
Yeah.
To put something into 2 words. A good way to do that is to first look at the song and then make it like 20 words and then make it 10 words and then, keep going until you have 2. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, 2 is maybe a bit harsh for a song. It is very harsh. I didn't do 2 words with the song. I made it 2 for the knives because I think it's enough for a knife. But it was just the concept, really, I guess, of cutting all of the distraction from like, what is this thing? Like, what is the core of this thing? Damn it. And now I want to buy a knife from you. Well, let's do it. Yeah, it's cool. I mean, like every knife that I make, and the other cool thing about really kind of embracing, the human side of knife design, the story side of the design is it. Like I come up with things that, again, very much like you would in a musical collaboration. You just come up with things that you wouldn't come up with normally, Mm-hmm. Like you have these other influences from people who might not be bladesmiths, might not know anything about steel, but they have this super cool idea. And you're like, oh man, yeah. And then it sets off a spark and you go down a train of thought and you go, I could grab that material and this material and that profile. And at the end of the day, then you have something that's like, whoa, I definitely would not have designed that myself, But you did anyway. Yeah, I mean, even though I sort of drove it, generally speaking, yeah. But that's the beauty of collaboration, I guess, in general. And so I very much carry that over from my musical days. Yeah, it's very artsy. It is. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It is artsy. And your knives are too, so. Thank you. It shows, yeah. Thank you.
And the customer is more involved in the process, so that's it's good for the customer.
I like that. This is the first time we have like a discussion or a talk like this on the podcast, which is great, actually.
Cool. And how does the design process then work in detail? So you draw up the design, I suppose, right? Or how does it work?
Yeah. So normally, we have the initial video chat or voice chat if they don't want to do video chat. Talk through the specs. I think I've only had maybe 2 or 3 people who don't want to do a call at all, who just want to do through text. But like it's been like 90 something % have done some sort of call. Mm-hmm. So excuse me. We do the initial call, and depending on their knowledge, that obviously drives the conversation a bit, because some people really don't know much and some people know a lot. So if they don't know much, we kind of go through steels, and I sort of just try to be very practical about my recommendations, ask them about how they want to care for stuff, how often they cook, yada yada, all that sort of stuff. And just get a feel for what they want really, and maybe ask them a couple knives that they like to use. What size are they? Are they stainless? Are they high carbon? What size is your kitchen? Etc. So we get all the specs, and once you kind of have a feel-ish for that, then you kind of go down the more artsy side of it, bring up the 2 words thing. I like to actually put people on the spot and just kind of come out with it. And I'd say about half of the people or more will just give me the words straight away, which I like. I'm a big fan of.
Do you have some examples?
Going with the gut.
Or is that too personal?
No. I mean, I don't have to tell you who said it.
Exactly. So
there's some great ones. The only challenging thing now is kind of trying to remember off the top of my head. Even though I have a lot of them, I just I'll never forget the Monsters and Demons one. That was a good one.
Oh my God!
Monsters and Demons. Yeah, that was a slicer.
2 things came to mind when you mentioned that. It was either Order and Chaos, or the classic Good and Evil, which would be fucking great on a knife. I think. Yeah. No, I mean, I'm a super visual person, so like that. These references like just help me massively in the design process. Mm-hmm. Like if someone gives you Monsters and Demons and you open your drawer full of wood, like there are certain woods you're just not going to pick up. It's like that's not Monsters and Demons. Like so it drives really every decision. This is more rainbows and butterflies. Let's not do that.
Yeah. No, I'm going to make one for my wife actually. It's a bit embarrassing actually, because she's been using this knife that I made 2 years ago, which isn't. My work is better than it was 2 years ago, and it's okay, but I could certainly make her a better one. And she's a really good cook, and she's very generous with her time cooking for the family, so she deserves a better knife. So I took her through the design process, only like a month ago maybe, and she her words were, God, I'm gonna blank now. It was, I remember now. Yes, it was a Rainbow Borealis, which I thought was beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah. So I try to do something creative with that, really beautiful idea, I think. So that's a couple at the opposite ends of the spectrum there for you. If I think of more as we go, I'll try, but I don't know. I won't try to poke my memory because I don't have the best memory in the world. I could pull out my design book and actually just rattle them off to you if you want, but
you don't use you draw them out first, right?
Yeah. I draw them by hand. I find that very satisfying, actually.
Yeah,
just with
totally
rulers.
You're not like a 3D CAD type guy.
No. I can see the usefulness in it for sure.
Yeah,
there's certain. It's something I'm actually trying to kind of work on at the moment. Is start learning that, but B, get a little bit more precise and say rigid. Yeah, precise with my profiles. And I just bought a big sheet of aluminium, like 2 mil aluminium, just to kind of commit the profiles properly. Like I have all my profiles in like 9 mil plywood at the moment, Mm-hmm. And I just felt like, committing them to aluminium is like, all right, those are the real profiles now, So like, got my big sheet, and I'm kind of like trying to do all that, and it's been a good, useful process actually. You know, kind of looking back through all the profiles that I've been working on and stuff, and sort of culling, seeing what's worthy of hanging around as a more sort of staple, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, like scaling, like there's a gyuto that I call the Unanaka gyuto, which is like a double angled tip. Basically, it's like a 2-angled K-tip. I had one on my Instagram profile, and then I deleted it about a week ago because I was trying to get the AI to unflag me for all that stuff, which I'm sure you've talked to people about.
Good luck with that. And just
well, as an aside, I think I may have an answer which I will share with everyone now and anyone who I talk to. So I've been flagged like your profile can't be recommended to non-followers thing for like over a month, which sucks. Because people can't even search for you either. It hurts, you know, and it's my main method of business, as I'm sure it is for, I'd say most bladesmiths really at this point. It seems I don't know if there really is an alternative that's as good. I certainly couldn't do what I'm doing without Instagram, you know, from where I am. So yeah, it's a big blow, and I was pretty pissed off when I couldn't really get any kind of answer. You know, I appealed 6 or 7 times, like nothing changes, and I said, "Screw it, I'm going. I'll get Meta verified," which, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
So I did that so I could get the direct support. I did that only a week ago, and I emailed them, and I got a nice AI response the first time.
Of course.
I tried again, and I tried more direct language, and I got a response today that I'm hopeful may be the fix. I don't know if it's the fix for everyone, but hopefully it might work for me, at least, and hopefully for some other people as well. They said if there's a minimum age setting on your account in the...
Yes.
Have you heard of this?
I've seen this post by someone else. And
okay.
It's basically you're saying like it's 18 plus your profile?
Yeah.
Or something like that, or 21 plus. I don't even know, but it should be helping. Yeah.
Yeah. So they basically said if it's set to default, that's why your posts are flagged. So mine was set to default. I went and changed it, and their email said, if you change this, I changed it to 18. Maybe I should change it to 21. If you change this, your post should be automatically unflagged, and we'll refresh your account, and you should see the change in the next 24 to 48 hours. So I literally just did that today. So hopefully that works for me, and maybe it works for someone else as well. Hopefully it does.
Let's hope so.
Yeah.
I said it the last episode, I think, but I see too much, like everyone is trying to find like the cure.
Yeah.
But you're not going to find it on Instagram. This is just like a change in the algorithm or whatever. It's just, I think we all have to just deal with it, or, you know, expand and go to other places as well, because
it's a big discussion. For sure. I mean, even in the last week, I've seen
so many posts about it, and like I'm not affected by it, and I know that I'm like, are you in a position to speak about it? But the feeling of like, instead of posting about it every damn day, you know, how worse it is, and how is that helping anyone? Everyone knows it's happening. Everyone knows you can't call Instagram and just make them change anything. There's just, you know, expand, go somewhere else, be creative, you know, go find a solution.
So that's why I did what I did, at least trying to get a better level of support, just to see if I get some kind of answer, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, there's of course, you have to give Instagram some backfire, but like if you look at the totality of Instagram, like who are we to them?
Yeah.
You know, they don't give a shit.
No, they don't.
So,
and that's a bigger philosophical discussion about
Yeah, maybe.
All of these kind of companies, they're too big for their
expand.
Their own
go
good,
to other places. That's what I would do.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's any other social media platforms
that wouldn't censor you.
Well, that would be worth it.
Yeah, Twitter
for knives
or X. Yeah,
really.
Yeah, they wouldn't fucking. I mean, I wouldn't be. No, I don't think they would actually.
But do people use it like that? I mean, I just think the Instagram has that balance of.
Instagram has the thing that you're it's the artsy.
Yeah.
The pictures, the visuals,
exactly.
But it doesn't mean we can't do it in another place as well, because the algorithm and the people that run Instagram, it's just not aligned with knife makers and like the general knife maker. You know, it's never gonna be like, it's not gonna get better. But let's just keep it at that.
There is what gave me at least a little bit of hope for what I do, and I know there's a lot of knife makers and bladesmiths who make non-culinary knives. In the language in their community guidelines, it explicitly says there's an exception for culinary knives. It says non-culinary knives are not allowed, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So. Yeah,
call your bushcraft or like a bush, like a bush chef knife.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, Jesus,
which it basically is. I mean,
yeah, I mean, I'm working on but by the same token, I mean, I'm working on a 320 millimeter Tsujihiki, kind of samurai style, with the tanto tip, sharpened tanto tip slicer, which is technically a kitchen knife, but it literally looks like a samurai sword.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know.
Only Mark Zuckerberg can swing a samurai sword.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. It's an issue, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. See what happens with this minimum age thing. Where that helps somebody.
I mean, it's just gonna. I can say that I'm pretty certain that the only thing that's gonna happen is it's gonna get like less worse. It's not gonna get better. It's gonna get like they're now everyone is shadow banned and flagged and I don't know what, and then maybe it'll get a little bit better, but it's not gonna be like a month ago ever again, and that's just gonna keep going until we all call all of our knives kitchen knives, and then everyone's happy. And why change language? Why?
I know.
For what?
Well, I changed my profile to say culinary tools.
Yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous, isn't it?
I get it. I know, but if you think about it, it's ridiculous.
It is.
Why?
I totally agree. But
so about your Instagram, if I go to your reels, I don't think I've ever seen like a weirder, like view wise. You have some massive reels, and then you have some that don't do anything.
Right. I don't really use them either, so there's probably a big time span between some of them as well.
Yeah, you can't see that if you click reels, but
I actually rarely post them.
If I look at the amount of views, I would definitely post more reels if I were you. Holy cow! People like
video, in general. I know that's the way things are going.
No. But like knife, like in just showing knives, those views you're getting, that's pretty hard to do. So that's why I brought it up. It's so weird. I think it's the artsiness or something. I don't know. It's just whenever there's a knife, it's just the algorithm as well. Whenever there's like a knife in a reel, it just gets no views at all. So This is why I'm so.
Well, there's a secret to some of the views.
Who's tagged in it?
No, I've boosted them.
Ah.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I'm good, but I'm not that good, you know?
This is... But you can't see they're boosted, right?
No, I mean, they're not currently boosted, but they were boosted at one point. At least briefly.
Well, that works. Don't tell anyone that.
Oh, it definitely works. If you want to pay for advertising, it works. And that's the beauty of the platform, is they have super targeted advertising.
Did you see that translating into sales?
Well, like, say my third to last one from now is a third to most recent is it's what, 5 knives on a block.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like that was my drop for last summer, and I sold all of those.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah, so I just set aside a bit of a budget to boost the reel, say, of the drop knives, and off you go. And I think it's pretty effective. And I've been growing my mailing list. My personal mailing list the whole time from that sort of stuff as well. That's usually my goal from those reels. I usually have it set for website visits, not for profile visits, which is something I'd recommend. On the whole topic of like branching out from Instagram, is use Instagram to build your own newsletter.
That's very smart.
Yeah, so that's what I've been working on. But I don't know if that's going to be enough to sustain a business, with no Instagram. So, but we'll see. Luckily, I do actually live in a really beautiful kind of touristy part of Ireland. That's actually known as one of the food capitals of Ireland. So there's a lot that I could probably be doing locally that I'm not doing yet.
Food capitals of Ireland. Are you a fan of the Irish Kitchen?
Is it a show?
No.
The Irish Kitchen.
No, I mean I like the Irish. How do you say that?
Cuisine.
Thank you.
I don't really know what Irish cuisine is, but
I was hoping you could tell me that.
Well, I think it's fairly simple at its roots. I mean, if I had like someone like Fingal Ferguson or something would be far better positioned maybe to say this is what Irish cuisine is, like definitively. But I feel like as someone who enjoys cooking here and has gone to some nice restaurants in Ireland, Irish cuisine is really centered on local, really nicely cooked, simple stuff,
Nice.
Carrots, potatoes, lettuces, like, but local, the one experience actually I would highly recommend for anyone who's a foodie who wants to take a trip somewhere. Like, this is an absolute like bucket list thing, I think, for someone especially who's not from Ireland, who doesn't get exposure to this sort of these sorts of views and such. That there's a place called Inishmore, INISMOR, which is
sounds like a whiskey.
Yeah, it probably is as well. It's the name for the middle island in the Aran Islands, which are 3 islands off the coast of Galway, so the western coast of Ireland and the Atlantic Ocean. It's about a half-hour ferry from the city of Galway, which you've probably heard of. And it's just raw, I mean, it's absolutely raw. Like, and Inishmore Inishman is the biggest one. There's like a couple B&Bs, there's a couple pubs. Really like awesome place, just like wild, raw. There's loads of farms there, but it's all like kind of small scale, like literally people like farming for themselves kind of thing mostly.
Yeah, I love it.
Loads of rock walls, like very like old rock walls that would have just been splitting up the land between families over the centuries. There's a couple old stone, I think pre-Roman forts. There's definitely one on Inishman, the biggest island, and there's another one on Inishmore, which I can't remember exactly what year they're from, but they're super old and really, really cool. But there's a hotel that's kind of new on Inishmore that has been built basically by a Michelin star chef, but he's not a Michelin star chef, but he is. He's like as good as a Michelin star chef.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he told us anyway. You can believe it or not, I don't know, but he's very good anyway. The story was basically he just couldn't be bothered to get a Michelin star, but they are that good. And it's like an 8-bedroom hotel, if you want to call it that. That's kind of built like into the hill to sort of like blend in with the hill. It's like built with all like kind of rock cladding and stuff, and like you don't even really see it. And yeah, it's basically just like a come stay here, overlook the ocean, like wake up to the ocean like in front of you. Hike the island basically for the day. It's a small enough island you can do the whole thing in one day, just all the way around. It's like maybe, I don't know, if you do like the perimeter of the island, it's maybe like 10 or 12 kilometers, something like that. Actually, it's probably less than that. 7 or 8 kilometers maybe, like the whole perimeter. Yeah, that sounds about right. So get a good walk in, check out the forts, check out the walls, the ocean, the cliffs. And then you go for dinner in the hotel. There's a restaurant, and they have like incredible wine and incredible food. I mean, like the local sand-grown potatoes, like local like fresh fish from the Atlantic, like this kind of stuff. Like it's amazing. It's the best carrots I've ever had in my life were from that restaurant. Inishmore. There you go. There's a good ad for Inishmore. So, what is Irish food? Back to the original question. It's that's what I think of when I think of Irish food, like local, just food cooked with care.
I think it looks a lot like the food we're used to eating over here.
Yeah,
I think so. Lots of potatoes, carrots, cabbage.
Whereabouts are you?
Holland.
I knew that. I actually did. I knew that. Holland is beautiful as well.
You been here?
I have.
Oh, Amsterdam, probably.
I have, yeah. I've been there once, and I was in Amsterdam with my cousin. It was my stag party from before my wedding.
Oh, Lord. You went to Amsterdam for your stag party?
Yeah, but it was just me and my cousin. He's like my brother, He's like 2 years older than me. We kind of grew up together, basically. Yeah, just the two of us. It was fun. Good fun.
Yeah.
We only went for about 3 days or something, but yeah, it was good. We won't get into it too much.
Why not?
It was good. It's a good time.
It was Amsterdam.
Highly recommend.
Of course, you have to get into that.
Yeah,
I know the experience in Amsterdam.
Highly recommend.
It's mostly the same for all tourists. Yeah,
that's good. It's chill.
Yeah, very chill.
So I feel like I go a million miles an hour. Sorry, have I derailed your
No, this is perfect.
question?
Albert is falling asleep, I think.
No, I'm not. I'm listening.
Yeah, that's like 51 minutes of listening. It's time to get into the techniques of knife making, Albert.
All right. Yeah, let's go.
What's the ratio of your custom work and your newsletter work?
It's changing at the moment. I'm trying to change it. I took too many customs last year, and it was, like I said, it's been a steep learning curve, and yeah, I'm always kind of reevaluating where I want my balance in my life to be, and just work-life balance and all that stuff. And yeah, I took too many customs last year, and I got to a point where there was no margin for error. Really, I had like no extra time built in for anything, like for any break or any extra event, or just messing around with something, or there was like no time. So, and that ended up becoming quite not fun just before the holidays last year. So it was kind of in the autumn that I started to take less for this year. So yeah, I have less this year, but I'd say when all is said and done, like I'm doing a drop probably early May is what I'm shooting for. And I have I think I'm working on 12 for that, which is a pretty big drop for me. It's kind of a test, really. See how it goes. but the demand seems to be reasonable. So fingers crossed. Yeah, I mean, I'm only doing. So I'm going to bore you with numbers here. Looking at my spreadsheet.
Spreadsheets, man.
Look, yeah, spreadsheets are amazing, by the way. Amazing. I'm not a spreadsheet guy, but I'm like a total convert. My wife is a spreadsheet girl. She's a manager of a team, and she's using them all the time. So she's been sort of showing me some tricks with spreadsheets the last year or two. Just roughly, like it probably was 90% customs, up until somewhat recently, but now it's I'd like to get that probably closer to 60-40 customs drops or something like that, maybe 50-50 eventually,
Yeah, that's much more reasonable.
Yeah it's good to have a bit more freedom, I think, as well.
Yeah, and customs take up so much time. And all the commitment and stuff. I mean, people are waiting for their knives. They have certain expectations and everything. So if you just drop like 15 knives and tell potential customers, that's it. If you want one, buy one. If you don't want one, don't buy it.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, and I think that the customs, there is a risk. I mean, not with your procedure, because your procedure is very sophisticated. But with a normal custom knife procedure, usually you end up building the same knife over and over again. Because that's what the customer sees when he comes to your shop. He sees your knife blanks or your finished knives, and he wants something like that.
That one.
So, so you're building the same knife over and over again, and that might hold you back somehow from trying out new stuff.
Yeah,
that's the risk. At least that's the risk, right?
What do you enjoy more?
Do you mean between customs and my own designs? Like
the drop thing, or doing the 2-question thing, and
it's, if I go with my gut on it, if I just let the question sort of sizzle in front of me for a few seconds and go with my gut, I think I enjoy customs more. Slightly. Like weirdly, so I think I feel like I should say I enjoy having more freedom and blah blah blah, but like
no, you shouldn't say anything.
For some reason I feel like I should, but I think I do. I think I enjoy
it's
the
more
customs
artsy.
more.
It's more artsy to say, but I disagree with that being more artsy, because I don't want to get too floaty, but
no, do
what you're doing is pretty awesome. It's like you're making them put everything they want into 2 words, and then you're changing that. You're I don't know. It's like a painter. It's that like they're giving you like a grand, like 2 big themes, and you and you make the painting.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think that's very cool. It's
nice.
I've never heard someone doing that like that.
Nice. No, it's very satisfying, and I think it helps on a lot of fronts as well. I think it helps. Obviously it helps the customer feel very involved and more attached, I think, to the final product.
In this way, it's there's so much more thought that's going into that knife, like also from the customer, because if you ask him like, what kind of knife do you want, like kitchen knife, I want the you can like in the technical aspect, you can ask for whatever, but I like this approach way more.
It has a lot of strengths. I think it has a lot more positives than negatives, for sure. I'd say maybe the one thing to be careful of that I've learned is sometimes it can get a bit too involved. Like, so kind of setting some kind of boundary there in terms of like the time of the meetings and all that sort of stuff. Just not to get too carried away, from that standpoint, because it can start to get a little bit inefficient that way. But I mean, that's a pretty minor thing, and it's pretty easy to watch. Most people who are going to spend 800,000 euro or whatever on a knife are not messing around. So They know what
exactly.
they
They know what their time is worth.
Yeah.
Or is there more than one meeting when you're building a custom knife with the customer?
I try to have one meeting, and then I'll kind of sort of set all the expectations as well on that meeting. And usually I say, give me a week or so. I'll, kind of think about your ideas. I'll draw something up. I'll pull from the materials that I have. I'll do a proposed design for you. I'll do a scale drawing. And I kind of do I don't use Photoshop or anything. I just grab the blanks and actually put them where the handle is, and sort of use white G10 to kind of block it off to make it look like roughly it's going to look. So I'll send them some pictures. I've actually been sending them a video. I'll just take a short video of me basically talking through the design, which serves the same function as a meeting, I think. It's just, but they can hear my thoughts then on it rather than trying to text it. And then usually we just kind of okay it via Instagram or WhatsApp or whatever, and off we go.
So fascinating.
They're in the books. Yeah.
So fascinating. The other day, was it this afternoon? Yeah, I was watching, I was on Instagram, and there was a reel coming on. You see this a lot now, where they ask this image AI thing to make an image out of words. You're basically doing that.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah.
It's like a generator, and it was actually pretty cool. It was if drugs, so a type of drugs, and then displayed as a monster.
Huh.
And it was so weird to look at that, and now I'm like, say 2 words or 2 things, and you're going to turn that into a knife.
Yeah, that's true.
Into a culinary knife.
A culinary tool.
A culinary kitchen tool, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. That's a good point.
I'm going to add, are those things for free, those AI generators? I'm very curious what AI would do if you ask him that question. Turn this and that into a knife. He's probably gonna put up your page and show your knives.
I doubt it, but I never know. Hopefully not. Steal my work, stupid AI.
Stupid AI.
Yeah. No, you're right. Actually, that's exactly what it is. You're just visualizing kind of these this marriage of 2 things that might not seem.
Well, if you visualize
related, even
your drawings, are they exactly like the knife, or do you exaggerate on the drawing?
Exactly. I mean, I wouldn't say they're exactly like the knife. I do sort of roughly scribble if there's hammer texture or a certain layer count of Damascus cladding or whatever. I'll kind of roughly estimate that, if that's what you mean.
Mm-hmm. But things that someone would say fire knives, that's pretty obvious. But if I say good and evil, how are you gonna translate that into a knife?
Depends on the day, I guess. It does. I mean, it makes me think of back to when I was writing songs a lot, and I would be, almost always the best ideas that I would have would come when I was doing something else. When I was walking or showering or whatever. Just when you sit down and just try to bang your head off a desk or off a computer screen,
ideas come to you. They don't. Yeah. You can't think of an idea. Yeah. No one ever thought of an idea. An idea comes to you. So.
No, you're right. And good and evil. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different references that just pop into my brain straight away. And like I said before, I'm extremely visual, so I very much see things straight away.
Yeah, the first question was kind of do you exaggerate on the designing? Do you see the what's the most good and the most evil? Fucking God and Satan, Yeah, how do you?
Yeah, you could. I mean, you could.
Yeah.
You absolutely. Yeah. I mean, or you could have kind of playfulness and sarcasm in it. You could have something almost silly that was good and evil in a silly way.
Yeah.
That was one of the first ideas I had when you said it. Actually, it was like do this like completely over the top, like basically Barbie, like half Barbie, but then half like melting Barbie, something like that. Like this like weird, I don't know,
melting Barbie on meth.
Yeah, like just I don't know, like some sort of industrial transformation, that the knife is making. I don't know, like these are just spitballing, but yeah, you can take it a lot of different ways, and yeah, sometimes I'll do, like if I feel like I have two good ideas, I'll present the client with two ideas, like, and just say which do you like,
yeah,
if I think they're both worthy of presenting. But yeah, I mean, I love the two concept idea, full stop. Like not even just related to knives. I just think it's funny because I always had this thought, just this kind of recurring thought over the years that I always just found so amusing. And I would just ask random friends and stuff, just what would you come up with? And I never actually even really put that together until just now that I used to do this. Yeah, so I do it with knives now. 2 words, knives.
Yeah.
Okay. But before I used to say, okay, imagine if you opened a shop that just sold 2 things.
Oh my God.
And you had one aisle down the middle, but it was like a very specific setup. You walk in the door and there's an aisle down the middle, and you just have like the right side has this and the left side has this, and that's it. And there's a cash register at the end. Like what would be in the shop? I just think there's like some hilarious combinations,
Yes.
Mine was always steak and flowers. I just think it'd be
flowers?
The perfect shop,
Yeah.
Just literally like a rack full of steak on one side, rack full of flowers on the other side. You got it all. Like,
my God.
I just, it's a fun exercise, but then, yeah.
Steak and flowers.
And it also reminds me of, did you ever see, probably, maybe you have, I don't know, Pharrell Williams? You know Pharrell?
Yeah.
He
very funny.
He kind of discovered, actually, that's not the video that it was from. He did like some kind of session at, was it NYU or something? One of the New York colleges, music schools. And they were interviewing him about something, and he brought up like fusion basically as like this beautiful concept, which it is in music. Like when I was making music, I was always about fusion. I was never like, I am a metalhead or I'm a jazz head or I'm whatever. It's like I was always trying to be multiple things at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
Because I just found it more interesting and try to kind of bring them together in a way that was like in some way new, hopefully. But yeah, he just said in that interview, he said, imagine like that day when someone realized they could put a Reese's peanut butter cup together, like chocolate and peanut butter, just like boom. It's just, and the way he says it, he like claps his hands together, like chocolate, peanut butter, like, and they're just so good together, like, I mean, if you're into that sort of thing, I think they're so good together.
Yeah,
like his passion about it, though, and it just caught me. I think it was just like the 2 idea thing again, like the fusion.
He's a master at that.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's very good. Yeah.
Yeah. So there we are with the story stuff.
Very floaty episode. I like it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have a sip of beer while you think of your next amazing question.
I'll let Albert do a question.
You made it almost sound like fun doing custom work. I think you found a path in between, like this boring custom work and this super interesting, very creative new stuff. You found a balance, yeah, which makes the custom work seem, at least it sounds like that, it makes it much more enjoyable for you, because you get a lot of creativity with your process, right? Which you don't have when you do the same knife over and over again. So
no, and I don't think I could do that. I don't.
So you never do any batch work, like let's say 10 knives of the same type?
No, I haven't. The closest I've done to that is maybe recently. I
Like
made
a pair?
3. What's that?
Like a pair?
A pair?
You don't seem like the guy that would make 4 of the same knives ever.
Yeah, I know, and it's something I think is almost a problem. You know, I don't want to be like this complete like kind of manic. You know, like what does he do? It's just everything is different. You know, like I think there's a continuity that you need in some way. I hope my work doesn't lack that too much.
No, there's not. If I look at your like judging from your Instagram, I don't see manic or anything you just described. There's a similarity.
There's some traits for sure that most of them share that I've just kind of, I don't know, gravitated towards, I guess. But no, you're right. I mean, doing customs that way it is almost like a semi self-driven, I guess, design, you know, on some levels. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, but batch work, I mean, I did
Actually, I take that back. Every knife is like, now I'm looking at the details, you know?
Yeah.
When you look over them like quickly, there's like, okay, yes, this is his style. But then you look at, there's no shape in there apart from, how do you call this knife? Let me see. It's like, I don't know how to call this one. But there's like the 45-degree angle on the tip, like just before the tip, actually.
Yeah, the double
I see
angle.
that. Yeah, I see that the double angle. Yeah, I see that in 2 or 3 knives. But other than that, there's not much the same of anything actually.
No.
Wow.
But you've built a pair. Because I found one picture on Instagram.
Yeah, that's
pair of paring knives.
Oh yes, yes, I have, and I have one of those actually in my kitchen. So I use it every day. The black one.
Oh yeah.
And I gave the other one to my sister, and she lost it.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, she actually lost it, and she didn't tell me. My mother told me. She's like, "Oh, I think your sister lost that knife." Like, what?
How do you lose a knife?
My sister's on another level of like spaciness.
Oh, really?
I love her, but yeah, she's very spacey. She probably won't hear this, so maybe she will. She knows I love her.
Maybe you'll go viral after this one. Everyone will know.
It's funny you mentioned that pair, actually, because I think the most batch work that I've ever done is actually like 2 weeks ago. I made 3 of those at the same time, and I actually have 3 heat treated blades right in front of me on a magnet of that exact profile, slightly longer actually, but the same profile. But I made them out of RWL 34 Demasteel. Gonna be sweet.
I love that straight razor.
Oh yeah,
Hell textured ABL stainless steel.
That was fun.
Fucking awesome.
I guess that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about with the customs. You know, like people come with these ideas, and you're like, all right, let's run with it. You know?
I don't even know what to make of that. What did he have 2 themes? Like, did he do the 2 questions?
I think so. That was a while ago. I'm trying to remember. God, that wasn't even a year ago. I'm looking at it. 49 weeks. I'm trying to remember the 2 words. I don't think there was 2 words. I think we just talked about it in the conversation. I think he's like, just I want something crazy. I want something like, I was like, what? He was in Arizona. I'm like, rattlesnake? What a snake? Yeah. He's like, yeah, cool. Like, let's do a snake.
Crocodile-ish.
Yeah, just kind of crocodish.
Reptile. Yeah.
It's a bit gnarly, yeah. So yeah, that's the kind of stuff that's fun, I guess. But
did you make razors before?
No, that's the only razor I've ever made.
Okay.
Just one. It was easier than I thought it would be, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't think that. But then again, I'm not a knife maker, so erasers scare me. If I just look at I don't know why.
It's just 2 hollow grinds
Yeah.
on each side. And hollow grinds are easier to grind because the contact wheel stays in there.
Yeah.
I really want a razor, like a handmade razor.
They are cool.
But the guy's using this razor, right?
Yeah.
It's not just a showpiece.
No, he's absolutely. Yeah, he sent me pictures of him shaving with it.
Nice.
Like a couple weeks later, he cut himself. He said, "I own it now."
He was shaving his face.
Yeah. See, I don't shave though, so I would make myself one, but I don't really shave.
No, that was what I was going to say. Like, I'm blonde and I have a beard, and that takes like a gazillion years to grow. So I'm not touching any razor ever. But I still want one. Though.
But you want one anyway. They are cool. Yeah. They're like objectively cool things.
Yes, exactly.
And you can do a lot with the design as well. They're just a nice little size, you know. You can just mess with textures, and it's cool.
It's like I always think it's like the easy folder type thing. It's just
your friction folder.
Yeah, but then without the all the everything has to be like 1,000% right.
I know. Yeah, no, that doesn't. I don't think I could ever make them. I'm not that kind of person. I can't do like crazy precision, like machining. Even like machining and as a concept, like doesn't really appeal to me. I could certainly benefit from it, making certain parts, but we'll expand as we need to expand. I think I'll probably expand in other ways first. Like getting a power hammer. I don't have a power hammer still.
Do you make your own steel?
Yeah, of course.
With the press?
Yeah, I have a press. I got a press only semi recently, like 8 months ago. So I was making bits before that, but I've made most of it after the press. Yeah, but I'd like to get more into kind of weird alloys and copper and stuff. I've been messing a lot with copper, and I tried a bit over the holidays. Tried and failed a number of times. I love how copper looks, but it's really not enjoyable to work with, like, at all.
I could imagine.
Yeah. But To forge. I mean, because you can't forge it on end, so you can't really shape properly. You can only really just forge a billet to a certain thickness and then forge a taper, basically, which is fine, but you can't you can't forge it on end without delamming it, so you're just kind of limited. But I absolutely love how it looks in general. It's probably my favorite metal. I just think it's such a warm color, a unique color as well. I use it a lot.
What did you etch it in gator piss?
Which one?
The copper knives.
I'm trying to think. I haven't made that many. One I didn't etch at all. Actually, 2 I didn't etch at all. Which is kind of becoming one of my preferred finishes for copper.
I can imagine.
I am doing a finish that I'm calling Cloud Core, which, the purists will probably throw stones at me. They're like, that's just a bastardized Kasumi polish. Like, yeah, maybe it is, but it's essentially it's like a double satin kind of finish where I skip a load of grits. I do like a fine satin. Basically do a fine satin and then etch it in gator piss, actually. Not ferric, because ferric you won't get the result. I'll give away one of my secrets. I basically have 2 etching procedures. One is like a dirty etch and one is a clean etch, basically. So I have my like strong ferric for my dirty etch, and I have gator piss for my clean etch. And usually Yeah, it depends. Having those two options gives I think really nice potential for kind of mixing and matching finishes, because you can get depth with the ferric quite easily. And yeah, so if you want, you can get depth and then kind of clean it and then do the clean etch, and then you have a really deep and really clean etch, which is sweet. But anyways, this cloud core finish thing with the copper is, etch and gator piss, basically just to give it kind of a hint of the contrast. And so I'll take it to like an 800 grit satin before the etch. I'll etch it, and then I'll basically do like a 2000 grit satin after the etch, and then polish it. And it leaves so I pretty much exclusively work with Apex as a core.
So does Albert.
Oh yeah, nice. Yeah, no, I've been working with Apex.
Albert?
Yeah.
He's awake. We got him.
Yeah.
Yeah, working with Apex for about, I don't know, really since the first batch, I think. I was like, what's this about? And I bought it, and off we went. Made a lot of sense. Made a lot of sense to me. So it's kind of handy because I don't really notice how hard it is to work with anymore. It's like, it's just normal for me. So,
there was a lot of discussion about gator piss recently.
I listened to that episode, actually.
Yeah.
Earlier today.
And I was wondering, actually, Albert, did you try any of the things we talked about with Koi?
No, not yet, because I was sick all of last week.
Oh my God, what's up with you Austrians?
Huh.
Yeah, we are weak.
Yeah, eat more meat, skip the veggies.
You're weak. That's funny.
Oh, but look, Erik, your logo, where does your logo come from? And what does it stand for? Because it looks like an elephant. Somewhat.
I think
right?
I think it is, if you want it to be. Yeah, it's my initials.
We're not creative enough to see that.
It's a backwards E and a small G, lowercase g, if you look at it sideways.
Oh yes. Yep.
That's how I initially kind of came up with it, but actually when I originally drew it, it was on its side, as in the kind of prongs were facing to the left instead of down. Mm-hmm. And I envisioned it as a sailboat.
A sailboat.
Yeah,
it could be a factory. It could be anything. If you know what I mean.
I envisioned the three prongs of the E as like wind, and then the bottom, like the big one, which is now like the trunk, I guess.
Yeah.
Would be like the water as like the base of the boat. And so like the way that I originally drew it was, it actually did kind of look like a boat.
It looks like, I see where you're going with that one.
And then I was like, you know what, this just looks cooler as like a little cave painting thing. Then I just thought it looked like a little cave painting thing, and I turned it the other way. And yeah, I tried, you know what, I tried not to overanalyze it. I just kind of went with it, and I love it now.
You can overanalyze everything. Yeah.
I was in bands and stuff for years, like just making logos and paying graphic designers to like do these things, and it's just like, it's like too much,
You could like burn your own CDs. So how do you call that? You put your logos on the CDs,
Well, I have kind of a sad story for you.
Okay, go. Hit me.
I had a rock band once, I got to give myself a plug just for like the two people that will actually listen to the song, because it'll be hilarious. I'm actually still on Spotify.
Oh no!
The band is called Navian, Naivian. It's a palindrome. Same backwards and forwards.
Okay, say that again.
Naivian. I think I have like a demo on there. It's like a 3-song EP.
Reformation, we both desire, and you're
That's it, baby.
That's it. From the gut.
That's it, from the gut. That's me. That's a picture of me on the cover. Screaming
towards heaven.
So that picture, right? I had t-shirts. So I did a big gig in Chicago in this club called the Double Door, which is a pretty famous rock club actually in Chicago. It was like I thought I was gonna make it,
Mm-hmm.
Like this was in that was 12 years ago, right? Oh. I was playing it. Please don't play it. That's good solo though. It's my buddy Alan on guitar. It's good. It's pretty epic.
Nice.
Sick
Very
audio
cool.
bleed quality.
Yeah, Elber's gonna love that one.
So, anyways, yeah, I had a bunch of other songs that aren't published anywhere, but I thought I was gonna be a rock star, you know. And I did this big gig in Chicago, and I had like this manager guy who was like interested, and I paid a bunch of. So it was basically set up like a Nine Inch Nails thing, where like I did everything, and then I like had session musicians like to come do the gig, you know. So yeah, I had two drummers. I had a drummer from Boston and a drummer from LA. Came before the gig, did like 3 days of rehearsals. I was like, I'm gonna blow this manager out of the water, and I'm gonna make it. And I had like, I think I had 50 t-shirts made, maybe more, maybe 80, something like that. You know?
How many do you still have?
Did the gig. Well, here's the sad part, right? So I use them as my work shirts now.
Oh my god.
I have like all the larges and XLs, so I wear both sizes for work. So I'm like, oh, whatever, it doesn't matter. Yeah, they're just my work shirts now. Like that's my work uniform, is the t-shirts from that gig, which is handy, you know.
It is very handy. It's a good reminder, I think. Lessons are learned.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. They have a non-zero value for me now, which is great, you know. So there you go. Another
slight, life story.
Another slight veering from the path. Although who knew what the path was at that point? I certainly didn't.
But you're doing it full time now, right?
Yeah. It's basically
for how long?
Basically, COVID was the kicker for me to change careers. So, as I mentioned before, I'm sitting in a music studio. We actually did an add-on to my house. We built a purpose-built room. I have a grand piano in here. The plan was to produce and mix and do all that sort of thing for Irish clients and compose. And we built this room. It's all purpose designed from the ground up for music. It's got big, cool acoustic ceiling, non-parallel walls, you know, hardwood floor. I spent about 4 or 5 months building a bunch of big acoustic panels and kind of kitting it out that way. And finished the room. Had a few EPs booked from kind of local Irish people. Pretty big projects. And then COVID happened. Everyone canceled. And it was a year and a half of like me just going, what the actual am I doing with my life?
Oh, fuck. Yeah.
Yes.
And it was like, can I say fuck?
Yeah, of course.
Sure.
Yeah, I was fucking depressed. Like, I was really fucking depressed. Like, it was just, everything just completely disappeared. And I was like, yeah, like, man, this is like the dream. It was literally like the dream. And it was just an amazing room, like ready to go. Super into it, super passionate, and just everything just disappeared. As you know, like, you know, music completely disappeared in all forms during COVID. Musicians had no money. You know, a lot of musicians became other things during COVID. A lot of my friends left music. But yeah, bladesmithing was a hobby for me since I first saw Forge and Fire, you know, whenever, like 8 years ago or something. You know, I had a little railroad track anvil initially and messing around. It was always forging though. The forging part of me was what really got me. It wasn't necessarily the end product. It was like, I want to move the metal like that. It's just so it still feels like a superpower to me. It really does. Like, it's just so cool.
Every blacksmith and every says the same thing. It's like, it's the moving of the steel. That's like magic.
It's still amazing to me, like that you can take this like rectangular solid and turn it into a 300 millimeter slicer with like refined geometry, you know, like Like, how is that even possible? That's like hard, you know?
Yeah. Do you use a lot of jigs when you're making your knives?
Not really. Like, at what stage?
In general, like, do you freehand a lot or
Grinding? I mean,
yeah, grinding?
I use I use like a kind of ghetto version of Tobias's jig. Well, I don't know who actually developed it originally. I think
Was the one with the bearing on it?
He and Benjamin sort of worked on it, and then my man
Oliver Tolman.
Oliver kind of built it and perfected it. I have kind of a ghetto version of that, basically, that I made myself. It's not a jig. It's
more like a helper type thing.
It's an IKEA drawer runner. So it's just a little piece of steel with a lip, basically, that I clamp to my work rest. So it just creates that little lip, so you can keep a consistent angle, basically. But it doesn't matter what it is. You know? Sorry?
Yeah. And not burn your fingers off.
Yeah. And actually, my push stick is, instead of a fancy wheel with the thing, I use a stick with duct tape on the end. Which, when it gets wet, duct tape is like the perfect thing. Because when it gets slightly kind of gooey and wet, it gives you just enough friction to kind of grab the steel, but it doesn't fully grab it, so you can actually push really hard and still move it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. It's the same concept, though. Like, I'll start the grind with as close as possible to the belt, usually, and do kind of a big, shallow angle. And then I'll move it back a bit to do a secondary steeper angle, and then I'll blend them by hand, to give the convexity. So yeah, I think that's really the only jig I use. I freehand all my bolsters. I freehand all my handles. I probably should use a jig for my handles, because I've seen some pretty clever ones for pretty much almost all of my handles now are like D-profile wah handles, which are fairly easy to make. But there's a couple of jigs.
Do you want to make more complex handles?
I don't know, not really. There's not at the moment, anyway. I think it will come and go in fads a little bit, but I think for me the beauty and the overall piece is really like marriage of materials and sort of the flow of color tones versus complicated shapes, or like overly complicated shapes, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Like, I think there's a real beauty and a freedom in like having a straight handle, like just as knowing that straight piece is there. Like, it's a really nice kind of foundational design element, I think, in any knife. I feel like you can do more with a knife with a straight handle versus some of these knives that I see with like really elaborate, faceted Western handles. Like, it just, you look at it and you're kind of like, it's just like too much, I don't know.
Yeah, I get that.
I don't want to knock other people's facets, because they're very difficult as well,
It's open to, it's not you're not criticizing their work. It's just you don't like it. That's not like, some like Picasso and some don't. Like, I hope that Picasso was not offended if I don't like his work. It's open, it's subjective.
Absolutely.
I do feel the same when I see like those very complicated like handles. I'm like, I don't know. Like like when you're holding a knife, I'm not looking for a very complex handle.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, to me,
basically,
the handle is an important complement to the overall thing.
I think the Japanese style had it right. Like, just straight and not
straight.
No
straight and
fuss.
simple.
Yeah.
No, I think
Yeah.
they take it to the next level of
Straight
utilitarian.
and simple.
Like that's one thing that actually I say bothers me about it, but it doesn't bother me. But I guess it confuses me on some level. Like they make such beautiful blades, and then they just put these like €8 handles on them, like with hot glue gun. You're like, what are you doing? Like,
yes,
at least make some effort, like.
Yeah, they.
And I guess that's what I try to do. I try to make a beautiful blade and then make some effort with the handle. That's maybe
Some
a bit
effort
more
with
than
the
some,
handle.
but yeah, make an effort.
Yeah, well, sometimes I also find that it like if a very complex or very like eye-catching handle takes away or could take away from the knife. Like it needs to be balanced, because if one is more spectacular than the other, like I don't know how to say that. Like if your knife is like is like very nice and your handle is like outstanding, it's like the other way around is better to me.
Yeah. Yes, I agree. I think it can work though. I think
of course.
If you had a really stark blade, like if you had some like, say like just this popped into my head for some reason when you said it. Like if you had like a mirror polished like stainless blade, right? Just like literally like nothing on it. And then you pair that with like some kind of weird handle, that could be kind of cool, something like that. That's just, but it's got to be strong and simple, right?
Yes.
If it's a big,
I like it.
blade.
I like it when knives are like the handle is like an extension of the knife, rather than there's a big contrast.
Yes.
Like I'm looking at your Instagram now. You have the Godzilla knife.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean with like the handle being an extension of the
Nice
knife.
Nice.
It works.
I like that one
with the entire design.
That was a beast.
Yes,
it's heavy as well, but it's not. It wasn't meant to be everyday use necessarily. It's kind of a slicer show knife, barbecue knife.
Yeah, barbecue has taken it to the next level as well, like with popularity over here at least, and the knives with it.
Yeah, I mean it's cool because I feel like you can do a little more with those kind of knives as well, especially if someone tells you that they're going to be for barbecuing, because that they're not getting used every day, and they're not.
Nope, and the guy's just going to stand there holding it.
Yeah, and it's meant to look good, and it's makes a few slices, and
while the wife did
food
everything.
Release, quote unquote, doesn't really matter. You just work away. You know?
The wife did everything, like, and the guy's just standing there holding the knife and cutting the meat.
And someone took the opportune picture. Yeah. My wife just delivered a beer. She's amazing.
She can hear you right now.
She's amazing. No, she closed the door. I have a nice soundproof door to my studio. That's the handy thing.
Yeah. So, Albert will love it.
Yeah?
He does the editing. So
So what's your studio there for now? What do you use it for?
It's my office.
Okay. So no recordings happening there at all.
Nothing.
Or mixing and okay.
Nothing.
Why not?
Why not?
Yeah.
I mean, well, I don't have time. I could be working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week right now.
Do you still play the piano?
I do occasionally. Yeah,
you're not recording, but that doesn't mean you're not making music.
Yeah, I've been playing a little bit recently, just for fun. I have 2 daughters, and my older daughter wants me to teach her how to play, so that's pretty cool.
Yes.
Might teach her a few bits there, a few songs that she likes, I learned very casually myself initially, which I would highly recommend, actually.
Yeah, oh man. This is one thing that I regret in my life is that I didn't pursue like anything music like when I was younger.
Yeah. It's definitely a lot easier for sure when you're younger, I think. Yeah.
So I'll just make my kids do it because that's how it works.
It's a nice
to learn from the things that I feel that, and then I'll make sure that my kids don't.
Yeah, no recordings. I put all my music gear up in the attic. Like literally all of it except for the piano. It's all gone from the room.
So now you have a very expensive sound treated office.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's actually, you know what? It's so calm. It's so calm.
Yeah, sure.
I love the sound of this room.
Oh man, I've been
Just
bad.
hush, you know?
Like for my kid, I had to go to like they were testing like his ears for something. I don't even know like how good he hears or something. And we had to go to one of those very silent rooms.
Yes,
and it's just you can't even hear yourself talk. You know, it's just insane. And whenever I sit in there, and I just had to wait like I don't know, 15 minutes, I'd be asleep within 5 seconds.
Yeah.
I can't. It's just so. There's nothing there. Nothing.
Yeah. It's really nice. I love the hush in this room. I often in the morning, actually, before I go to the workshop, I come in here, turn the computer on, I'll sit at my desk and just kind of check my schedule and just make sure everything is good to go for the day and everything makes sense. And sometimes I just sit like 5 minutes too long and I'm like, oh, this room is so comfortable. I just stay here for half an hour and just browse some wood or some steel, see if I can order something. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. I think we'll probably convert it to our bedroom at some point, actually. And maybe I'm hopefully building a new workshop soon. I'm in progress, early stages of finding an architect, and we have kind of a rough plan and an idea. So the plan is to build a workshop, hopefully starting within the next year, big enough for power hammer, rolling mill, etc.
Nice.
Yeah. Expand a bit. Keep it rolling. Yeah. But it all takes time.
Like a new forge and a grinder?
I tell you what I really need is a new forge right now, actually. And maybe you guys can help me with a recommendation, or someone else can. Because
I can. I mean, I can, obviously.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. The Apollo.
Oh.
Do you ever hear the Apollo forge?
Has? No. Is that the one Tobias has? No.
No. The Apollo Forge is the one who was developed by Brian House.
Yes, I have. Yeah, of course.
Tobias has a forge with a Venturi brenner, I think.
Oh.
Right?
Yes, he does.
A Venturi.
Yeah.
This is with a ribbon burner.
Oh, really? Oh, nice. I have a really crappy forge right now. And it's absolutely falling apart. Like, it's literally falling apart. The steel is just like melting at the front. All the lining is falling apart, and I just couldn't be bothered fixing it properly. So I just keep like slathering it with Satanite and just hoping that it lasts a bit longer. Yeah, it's ugly as hell and probably a health hazard. So it's actually a priority. So I might actually talk to you after this.
Yeah,
properly.
Let's go.
I bought my gator piss from you actually. Like when you
you did
very early. Oh, did you? Do you know that? You remember?
Yes, of course.
Oh, really?
I remember all my customers.
I must have been early-ish, was I?
You were one of the well, not the first, but I can actually check that.
It was a while ago.
But it was May 2023.
Mm-hmm.
God, I love Shopify.
Jeez, it's been almost a year. Wow.
Yeah.
But how long have you been open? That hasn't not that much longer than that, is it?
Yeah, but not like I grew I was fairly unknown, like not that I'm like fucking famous now, but it's still it just
famous
grew gradually. Yeah,
that's awesome, man. Yeah, that's awesome. I remember like looking up gator piss when I first heard of it straight away, and I was like, "What's this? What's this DIY Europe thing.
Yes. What's this? What's this stuff about? What and how?
This is too good to be true. Like,
yes.
what?
And how did he get gator piss?
Yeah.
Everyone was like, "What the fuck?"
Crazy.
Even Keith and Eurotechny and everyone.
Yeah.
And our last guest, also tried to get his hands on the gator piss deal, and I beat them to it, which was very fun.
Good man. He's got moxie. Goes in there making the deals.
Well, it was very fun to have everyone, even Keith, and being like, "How the fuck did you do that?"
That's awesome, man. Jeez, you've expanded your stuff a lot. I was looking at your website there. Yeah, it looks good. Yeah, we'll
it's
chat.
not even half of what I should be selling. I just don't have the time to keep up with Brian House, for example. It's insane. I can't keep up with this guy.
Can anyone?
I could if I didn't went for the other company as well, but now it's just not doable. But then again, like, I'm still growing steadily, and yeah, I love it. It's too much to not do it.
That's awesome. That's your full-time gig now, is it?
No, it's not.
Oh, really?
Like the other company is my full-time gig.
The other company?
The other, it's a factory that makes balconies.
Oh, right.
Yes.
Well, interesting.
Yeah. Kind of fumbled onto that by accident and couldn't say no. So.
And you run both businesses?
Yeah, I try to. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I could do that.
And I have a wife and 3 kids.
Oof.
So
Oof. The time. Ouch.
Yeah.
The time.
I told Albert just before the show. He asked me how's it going? I was like, busy. He says, you're always busy. I was like, yeah. I just need longer days. That's the only thing I need. Like, I need 48 hours in one day and 7 days a week. And then
do you ever do the thing where you get up early thinking you're going to get more done, and you're like, yeah, this is great, and then
I did it twice this week, and
then you
the
hit
only thing I'm just
useless.
extra tired. Yeah.
It
doesn't work at all.
No, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
Especially not worth it for me when I'm have to get the balls to put the apron on and go wet grinding when it's miserable and raining and cold here.
Gross. Yeah.
It's just not that I'm being rained on, but my hands are being rained on. But
do you use a misting system?
I do.
Nice.
A cheap one, but it works quite well.
Don't spill the beans.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. No, it's a. Yeah, I can't remember what I use actually. It's something.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm I don't lie ever. So I get them from AliExpress and I sell them.
Okay, nice.
So
good man.
But
yeah, that's probably what I have.
Yeah, but I think that most customers know that it's from China, but they prefer to get it from a European dealer just because they, if it fails or doesn't work, they'll get a new one ASAP and like that. I'm not. It's not like I'm hiding that I'm getting them from China.
No, I mean having communication with your vendor is important for sure. Mm-hmm. The whole it's amazing how the world has changed so much, I think, in the last few years, that people just seem to be way more comfortable with buying anything from anywhere now.
Yeah, it's really a thing.
I mean, I was maybe I'm not a good gauge, but I was quite paranoid about buying stuff online in the past. And now I'm steal from
it's
Kazakhstan, yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah, let's try it. Pins from Russia, a game.
Yeah, I actually got some wood from Russia. I didn't even know it was coming from Russia.
But also the trust that you have in someone you've never seen, talked to. It's just, it could be anyone. And the other day, I bought carbon and I just wired like a substantial amount of money to someone that WhatsApped me from China.
Yeah.
And yes, they sent me a sample and it all looked good, but still, like, I was thinking about it. I was like, I can't imagine people doing this like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly, yeah.
Just nothing. I could be just a fucking 19-year-old dude sitting in his basement texting me. You know?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, it is mad.
Turned out good, but
I mean, I'm still amazed that, I mean, my knives aren't cheap. And I guess that's part of the reason why I like to do video calls with people. I like to just show them
the
that
scammer
I'm
thingy.
here and I'm real and I can show you all my materials and, you know, finished knives that are sitting next to me and like, just, you know, develop a relationship like you do with your customers, you know, like they know their vendor. But like, yeah, I mean, and largely people, I've only had like one or two people who are just like, oh, I have to use this or have to use that. Like I've had the vast majority of people are kind of going, yeah, whatever you want for payments, like we can just figure it out, you know, which is cool. It's been a huge benefit doing things that way for sure.
Yes.
Just upfront, you know, upfront, transparent, real. So yeah.
Always tell the truth, but at least don't lie.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But talking about your material machines, what do you have in your workshop? Do you mind walking us through your workshop a bit?
Material or tools?
Tools and machines, and also materials if you have something interesting or out of the ordinary.
I mean, geez, I'm a complete wood addict. I'll just start there. Like, seriously, like problem level. But I don't think it's a bad thing, personally.
No.
But no, like the philosophy for me behind wood buying is like the way I buy wood is I basically, I'm always trying to grow my list of trusted sources who have high quality. I used to think I was going to stabilize myself, and that was kind of my goal, was like, oh, you know, this is really cool. I'm going to get into dyeing and blah, blah, blah. And yeah, then I realized, you know, it's better off me just buying awesome wood from people who are really passionate about cutting and planing and stabilizing. Because there are people who do that. And yeah, it's way more efficient to buy from them than it is to try to do it yourself. So I've been growing those, you know, the list of those vendors, and I'm basically always looking for wood. And if I see something that I think is special and in some way, either special or kind of, you know, a solid deal but special kind of thing, yeah, I try to just buy it basically. And so I basically have two big IKEA units with kind of the shallow drawers, you know, just full of blocks.
Oh yeah.
But for me, it's like, it's really invaluable having a decent stock, especially when you're doing video calls with people, because I can just open a drawer and say, here's my drawer of, you know, top end materials. Like, if you want to look at these, here's my drawer of colorful materials. Here's my drawer of like natural toned materials. Yeah. And like, I kind of sort them by color usually. And then I have my kind of basically super expensive blocks in one drawer. And then I have a drawer with all my kind of different metals or little offcuts of metals and spacers and all that stuff, so I can kind of put stuff together. That's fairly normal stuff, though, I suppose. My workshop is quite humble, I would say. There's really nothing mind-blowing in there. It's quite limited. I mean, it's small. It's 6 by 3 meters. Which is, it's big enough, I guess, to function, but it's certainly on the small end of things. I do have a press. I have a 25-ton press. I have the Coal Ironworks press I bought from the States. And I have a shitty forge, which I mentioned already. I won't mention the brand because I don't want to bastion-y brands, and it's not a shitty forge. It was cheap enough, and it's actually served me quite well, all things considered. So it's just time to you get what you pay for, So I have a Batco grinder.
Which one?
Countryman. The 3000 XL.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's done me all right, I think.
Yeah.
I think there are strengths and weaknesses of it, like probably any grinder has.
Yeah.
Where did you get it from?
I bought it directly from them.
Who's them?
From Batco.
In Holland?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Just directly from their website, like. And I have a few attachments, nothing crazy. Got the 25 centimeter wheel, 25 millimeter wheel. I think I have 25 millimeter wheel as well. Like a small wheel setup, and a 20 centimeter wheel, and that's nothing special either. And a compressor to power my little vacuum fed misting system.
Yeah.
And also that's the main reason about the compressor, but I attempt to dry my blades after I etch them, right? After I rinse them, etch and rinse, I attempt to dry them with the compressor, and in Ireland air compressors just spit water.
Yeah,
like
it's
literally it's
tap it or something.
It's so annoying. So maybe you could give me a little tip of some inline filter I can put on it. I don't know. I know.
Now there's water. We call it Wasserabscheider. There's this water containers you can plug in that gets rid of the water in the air.
After the tank, before the hose type thing.
Yeah.
They're probably like easy to get, are they?
Yeah.
They are, yeah.
Do you know? Yeah, I need to just get off my ass and do that. As you know, like there's always tools you need, and you just kind of don't get around to it. There's other things. So, yeah, just a small compressor, and I do have an even heat as well. I have one of the longer ones. I think it's a 57 centimeter. Pretty big, so I can do swords if anyone wants a sword. Just about. Excuse me. And what else?
A drill press, I suppose, right?
A drill press. Yes,
yeah.
I have a drill press. A cheap drill press, actually. I need to upgrade that as well. Thanks for reminding me.
Do you have a mill also, or how do you get the slots into your bolster?
No, I don't.
Material?
I drill them and file them. Every single one. Yeah, nothing crazy. Bandsaw, which I barely use, actually. I thought I'd use it way more, because I was using when I first kind of started selling knives, I was doing more full tang knives, and I was trying to cut things with this jigsaw, a handheld, and that's a mess, like an absolute mess, trying to clamp things and vibrating, and yeah, just a mess. It's like, I really need a bandsaw. It's going to speed up my workflow so much. I spent like €600 or €700 on like a half decent bandsaw, and yeah, I barely use it now. I don't really need it. Pretty much every handle is a hidden tang, and I need to cut wood that much. I actually use a miter saw for most of my woodworking, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
I think I've kind of like jimmy rigged like my own sort of process with using a miter saw for basically everything, like fairly safely. I have kind of like jigs for like holding stuff, and I use the miter saw to cut slots in my dowels for the tangs as well. I have kind of a jig thing that I just slot the dowel into, and there's a slit in it, and it fits right in there. It's perfect. Super easy. That's pretty much it, I think. That's all the things of note. Yeah, I have no power hammer, no mill, no CNC, no laser, nothing like that.
So that is pretty basic. Not that it's basic, but yeah, not too fancy.
No, it's absolutely basic. Absolutely.
Yeah, great.
And I only got the press, like I said, like maybe 6 or 8 months ago. So before that, it was very basic. Just a grinder and a heat treating oven, basically, and a forge. I'd like to at least upgrade my anvil. My anvil is a cheap anvil, and it's actually done really well. I'm honestly shocked at how good it is for how cheap it was.
Yeah, but are you finding the limits of what it can do now, or is it?
I think I'm
chipping away.
I think I just need a heavier anvil. It's not even the quality so much as the weight. Yeah.
What's the weight on yours?
I think it's only 30 kilos or something.
Okay, that's very light. Yeah.
So like working on the horn, like it moves, when I'm working on the horn.
If shipping wasn't so crazy, I still have like 8 or 9 anvils laying around.
No, are you serious?
Yeah.
We would talk about that as well, maybe. Because I'll pay for shipping. I don't care. We'll figure it out if there's a good one. Yeah, no, seriously, I'd love to hear about them. Tell me later. You can tell me about the ribbon burner and your anvils. No, absolutely in a market for a better anvil, though, for sure. Trying to do a lot more forging on the anvil, a lot more shaping on the anvil than I used to as well. I do use an angle grinder for a lot of stuff as well. It's the magic tool. I just got a big one, actually. I had the small one for a long time.
The big angle grinder?
Yeah, the 20,
okay. Yeah.
20 centimeter, whatever it is.
20 or something. Yeah.
22?
The bigger one.
Yeah. Yeah, one's like 10 and one's 20-ish, whatever, something like that. So now I just have typically I have the cutting wheel on the small one and the grinding disc on the big one. So yeah, for cleaning billets and stuff, I use the big one. It's a dream. It takes like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And I do it outside as well. And I just have a little like movable bench. So if I need to clean a bunch of billets, I'll just put the bench outside.
Very nice and very basic. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you must have a welder.
Yes,
too, right?
I do. Sorry, I forgot.
Machine?
I have a welder.
Okay.
I have a welder.
What kind of welder?
It's just arc. It does arc and TIG, but I haven't set it up for TIG. So I've just done all arc welding so far, which is fine. But yeah, I've basically just been learning welding over the last year and a half or so. So I'm getting better. I'd like to get a MIG set up though, for sure. It seems like that's kind of the way to go, but
no.
A lot of people say TIG is the way to go, so I don't know.
For billets, I think TIG is the way to go.
Yeah?
No, it depends on what you want to do. There are certain combinations of steel you can't really TIG weld.
Oh, okay. Please enlighten me.
Yeah, with laminates, for instance, you're always supposed to use a MIG welder.
Yeah.
Why?
It's fast, right?
Yeah, because Tobias said this on some podcast, I think, or maybe when we were visiting him. Because with the TIG welding is prone to cracks, and if there's TIG welding without filler.
Ah, yes.
Right?
Okay. Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
So if you just fuse all the open
what
areas,
they mean, I think, is that with the MIG, you can weld so fast. You're basically like welding over it, I think.
Yeah.
And that's very hard to do with a TIG welder.
And from what I've heard, Apex doesn't like TIG welding either.
No, but it's TIG welding without wire. That's so.
Yeah.
The reason billet people love TIG welding is because you don't add any bullshit filler material.
Yeah. That makes sense.
I know that's why we use it.
Yeah, and then but then the other side,
the heat's much higher.
Yes,
right?
Yes, but like that welder guy that does the TIG welding for you. He can do it with TIG. I think so. I think he can.
So it's fine for like simple steels, probably, but like
it's fine for simple steels, and if you just want to, we call it. Is it called fusing in English? Yeah. If you just want to fuse the sides and all the open areas, but if you do laminates, for instance, with Apex or any other core material, so laminated steels, we always use MIG welding to weld it all shut because it's faster. There's not that much heat. Of course, Bernie, our TIG guy, might be able to do it, but why? But why would he? I mean, he would have to use filler.
I always use filler with TIG.
Yeah, but if you use filler, then I can use MIG.
But it depends because I don't. When I'm TIG welding with filler, I don't like my welds are still far more cleaner than a MIG weld.
Yeah, but it's not so much about the cleanliness. It's about that you don't want to have any other
oxygen,
material in your billet.
As well, yeah.
Yeah, it's oxygen, and you don't want to have filler in your Damascus. So that's why we use it without filler material. So it depends. I mean, there's a reason why there's various welding methods. They all have their place, and they're all good for certain.
It's just whenever I hear that argument, it's like yes, and then if the world ends and I had to like take one welder to the next world, I'd take the TIG welder because you can weld nearly everything with that. Like outside of just billet making and stuff. With TIG, you can do anything.
My question about TIG was, if you're doing the side of a billet and you're fusing with no filler, what does that look like? Like if you just forge that into the billet, like does that?
No, you can see
sort of a smear like between the steels.
Yeah, it's messy.
Huh.
It's like it's like a silver area, cool. Right?
You can play around with that.
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
I mean, usually
weird parts
of the billet, grind it off.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But you can like weld mascus.
Yeah.
Well, weld mascus. Yeah.
I've been toying around with something like that.
I bought some stainless rods to mess with that a little bit, actually.
Yeah, it's very good. Just remember that you cannot make crisp edges with welding.
Crisp edges? What do you mean?
I've been trying to make like the house-made logo into, it's like a stainless steel middle plate and then 2 steel outer plates with the logo in it, and I tried to fill that with stainless steel filler material.
Oh yeah.
But it logo just keeps, and then grind it smooth and etch it, and then have like a coin type thing with the logo.
Cool idea.
But I have a new idea. I've been having it for months now, but I don't have the time to. But I'm gonna work something out to get those edges sharp, so you can have like any logo you want into that, and you can laser cut it into the steels, then fill it up with whatever I thought of, and then etch it, and it'll the possibilities are limitless.
Yeah, how do you not melt everything though?
But there's multiple ways to fuse things without melting the core material.
Yeah.
That was the answer. The answer's in here.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to try it. I'm fucking.
A laser is on my list as well.
Laser, but I mean laser cutting.
Sure.
Yeah, laser is very much on everyone's list, I think.
Yeah,
like the laser you're talking about.
Pretty useful.
Yeah, it's just like 3D printing. I see so many people with a laser now. And then 5 years ago, it was only the rich and the famous.
Yeah, that's true. Sorry, I interrupted you.
It's good. It's, I'm going to try using silver. I don't know the English for that.
Silver?
Yeah, silver. Not like the actual silver, but
German
how do you say that?
Nickel silver?
Sold.
Solder?
Yeah.
Solder?
I'm going to have to translate that.
That's all right. You probably speak about 5 languages anyway, do you?
No. Oh, it's just soldering.
Yeah.
It's actually soldering. Did you say that?
I said soldering.
For fuck's sake. Yeah, that.
That's okay.
I'm going to try that and see how that holds in there. Because it does not melt away the edges of of the logo in the laser cut plate.
I mean, something with a low melting point, but you can't really do much with aluminium, can you? It just kind of crumbles.
No, aluminium does not attach to steel or stainless at all.
Yeah. It also just crumbles at heat. It does really weird things when you heat it up.
Yeah.
I heated it up once.
Do you know why?
No, I don't.
Okay, so the layer that surrounds aluminium, it melts at 2200 degrees, but the aluminium itself melts at like 700 or 800 degrees.
Yeah, it's really low, yeah.
So whatever happens is you get like a very big puddle of liquid aluminium, but it's held together by the outer layer, and then suddenly it fucking like drops a massive hole.
Yeah,
into it.
Yeah. I
It's-
melted some in my forge once by accident.
No, it's terrible stuff.
And I got this like nugget of like weirdness out of it's like it just doesn't act like other metals like at
It's
all.
pretty amazing how they managed to figure out welding aluminium.
Yeah.
Because it kind of just works like that's why you need another current for that. It kind of just works the way that it breaks through the layer like from the inside out. It bursts through the layer, and then you can like actually make a puddle and start welding, which is very remarkable because it's kind of like it's like on paper it's impossible, just like making Damascus with copper.
Yeah.
It's also impossible, right?
No,
it's just very hard.
Yeah,
it's just
like
awkward,
on
I
paper. If you look at it like this melts at that melts at that, so it can't work. But then you find a way. It's with welding aluminium was the same progress back then. I think
that's interesting.
Yeah, but with copper, you can see from the data sheet that it's possible, but the temperature window is just very small.
And it's the same with if you use this type of current with aluminium welding, and you instead of going like on a direct current, like from the outside into the material, this one is just constantly changing, like from inside to the torch, and then from the torch to the material. It breaks out the layer, that high, that 2200 degrees layer, and it opens it up so you can weld the stuff that's inside. It's very weird.
That is very weird.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't have come up with that.
Me neither. School taught me that.
That's cool.
Mm.
That's cool. Yeah, I think I told you all the tricks from the workshop. I don't think there's anything I'm missing really. I mean, you can do quite a lot with not that much, really, can't you?
Yeah,
you
can.
You need a grinder, really. I mean, if you want to make anything decent, you can make a knife with no grinder for sure. But you need a grinder, you need a forge. That's about it, right?
Yeah, and the drill press.
2 files, drill press. The drill press helps for sure. Yeah, you can do it with a hand drill, technically.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're not here trying to encourage dangerous practices, right? So yeah.
But do you have a favorite steel to work with, like your standard stainless steel and your standard high carbon steel? Like your go-to steel.
My favorite to work with, or my favorite steel? Because my favorite to work with is probably.
Yeah, that's two different things, right?
Something.
And they're almost contradictory.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, Apex Ultra is my favorite steel for sure.
Okay.
Is it my favorite to work with?
Of course
Probably
not.
No. It's
no one's favorite steel
but
to
do
work
I love the results and the thought and the purposefulness of the design of the steel? Yes. So like, why would I use really anything else as a high carbon steel? You know, it's like that. I don't know. Unless I'm trying to think of like any case where in a kitchen knife you would use a different steel and it would be better. And
no, if you want to have a stainless.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, in high carbon though.
Mm.
I don't think there's. any other high carbons that have traits that are better. I could see the argument for something like, not really though. I mean, I do like steels like a spicy white. They're nice to forge. That's probably one of my favorite to forge, to work with. But I don't like heat treating it though. They're fucking annoying to heat treat. They really are. Like you have to grind them, or forge and or grind very thin to get it to heat treat properly. You know, even with a hot fast oil quench, you can still get those bloody spots, you know, unhardened spots in something like spicy white. And that annoys me. One thing that's nice about Apex is the heat treat is so consistent. It's much more stable, I've found. You know, once you thermal cycle it properly, grain refine it, you know, anneal it, everything beforehand, it's so nice to quench. Like you just do I usually do a small bit of edge grinding just to make sure. Yeah, and it I mean, I've certainly never cracked one in a quench. Have you? Doesn't crack, and it doesn't really warp either. And you can usually fix it if it warps quite easily. I usually just pull it out a small bit early and either clamp it or just literally bend it with my hands, and then it will harden fully.
Bend it with your bare hands.
With gloved hands, usually. Yeah.
Oh, gloved hands. Okay.
Yeah.
You're one of those. No, kidding.
One of those, yeah. So yeah, no, I love Apex for sure. Stainless, it's a funny one. I do like AEBL. I do like RWL 34, and I like Damasteel. I mean, I've forged Damasteel as well. I don't know if you saw the.
You mean the Damascus by Damasteel, because RWL 34 is also from Damasteel,
yes.
right?
That's just the kind of high end element in their Damascus. It's got a higher carbon, and I can't remember the exact elemental composition, but it's the better steel of the two in their Damascus. And yeah, Damasteel is awesome. Damasteel, I mean, in terms of like the consistency of a material, I mean, it's super easy to work with. Even in forging, actually, it's actually much easier to forge than I thought it would be when I first kind of started messing with it last year. And yeah, I've enjoyed forging it. Actually, done a few forge blades. I did also that the top tang integral out of Damasteel. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah,
and that was, for me, it was easier to forge than I expected as well. And it finishes really nicely. It's very easy to etch, easy to polish. You know, it performs quite well. I think not as well as Apex Ultra, but as far as the stainless, I think it's certainly up there. I'm making my first Magna Cut knife actually as a custom in a couple months. I ordered a sheet of that from the US. So I have that on my rack. So I'm looking forward to working with that a little bit.
Have fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a little folder in 20 CV. Is it 20V or 20 CV? 20V? I think.
Yeah, also CPM.
Yeah,
right?
I think it's similar kind of steel to Magna Cut. Is it? It's some of those same alloying elements, and it's like you can't sharpen it. It's like the most annoying thing in the world to sharpen. So, and this is like from me, like, you know, I'm not that I'm a master sharpener, but I'm not like a complete idiot when it comes to sharpening either. You know, I have quite a few stones, and so it's so annoying to sharpen. So I'm hoping Magna Cut's not like that to work with, but it probably is.
I think it is.
Yeah, so I'm making an outdoor. You joked about it earlier, actually. I think Matt did. Like an outdoor, like an adventure kitchen knife, you know, basically. Doing like a Kydex sheath, you know, and a Magna Cut blade. Actually, that reminds me, I have to buy something from Keith for that knife. He he sent me a video of a G10 block like months ago, and I haven't ordered it yet. There you go. Yeah, probably. Yeah, so Apex and probably RWL 34, I'd say. Stainless steel, yeah. Two high-end steels. I guess I just struggle to sort of be okay with like using a lesser steel when I know there's a better steel. Like at all, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, why am I even doing this, you know? Like I have knives that I was using 52-100 for a while. I forgot what the European number is for that. Sorry, you probably know that steel.
Yeah, sure.
I think that's quite a good steel as well, actually. I like it, actually. But again, it's just like a worse Apex, you know? It's like has no tungsten, and it's just like a worse Apex, so why would I use it, you know? Like I have a couple forged mono steels in 52-100. I have like 2 K-tips just sitting in a drawer next to me, and I don't think I'll ever finish them, you know? Like they're heat treated and they're just sitting there. Need to be ground. Like, what do I do with that? What do you do with that? What do you must have old blades sitting around somewhere.
Tons.
You just where you just don't like it anymore, or it's like a steel you don't like, or the profile you don't like.
We are using the exact same steels you are using. So our favorite steel is Apex for high carbon and RWL 34 for the stainless, for stainless plates. But I have tons of blades out of Sandvik 14C28N. Yeah. Also a decent steel, very tough.
It's like ABL basically, right?
Yeah, it's very similar to ABL. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it, but I think I have like 15 to 20 blades somewhere sitting in my shop out of 14C28N. But I'd rather build a new one in RWL 34 than finish these old ones. I know it's stupid, but that's how it is.
No, it's not stupid. It's like it's all time, it's all money, it's all efficiency.
Yeah, but they're almost done. I mean, some of them are even hand sanded already.
The blades they're already ground.
Heat treated, hand sanded. The handle's missing.
Geez, so I mean, if you have them at that stage, I mean,
yeah, that's what I said. It's somewhat
it's a little stupid, yeah.
But
but I get it. Look, if they're already hand sanded, though, I mean, geez, you could just do you use a dowel construction?
Yeah.
I mean, like my lazy go-to. No, maybe I shouldn't say this because then I can't do like an artsy version of it. But I'll just say it. You know what? If I want to stick a handle on something quick, you just drill your hole in and just have the dowel sticking out the front, right? Like you can do a handle in 2 seconds. Like I was testing a knife design concept I was hoping it would be one of my staples, but the prototype isn't working as well as I thought it would. But yeah, I wanted to put a handle on it and for myself to test, and I just had the dowel sticking out the front. I had a stabilized piece of like ash or something, just like super plain, you know. Just threw it on, like did a super quick shape on it. I mean, it took me like an hour maybe between like total time, like to glue it up and shape it and have it like ready to go, you know. So I think it was worth it. It's nice to have a finished knife, you know. And I just charred the back of the handle, so it's like a half burnt, half natural ash. I think it looks pretty cool actually, with the dowel sticking out the front. So I dyed the dowel black.
Yeah, I'm looking at it on your. I think it's on your website, right?
Oh, I don't think I've ever posted it anywhere actually.
No, there's a cleaver on there with a black dowel.
Oh
sticking out
yeah.
The front.
Yeah, that's not the one I'm talking about, but that's that construction.
Same method.
Yeah, but I do like I've said that to people, like it can be like a rustic charm sort of thing, you know. I think it could be cool. I think it can work.
Yeah. I keep him because we have tons of knife makers who bring their blades for heat treatment and stuff.
Oh yeah,
and they're super happy if they get a blank or an almost finished knife for very little money. And they don't care that it's made out of 14C28N.
Yeah.
Because it's a decent steel. There's nothing wrong with it.
No.
Right? So I keep them in the shop for these guys.
Oh yeah, that's nice. Yeah, no, I have I have some finished blades actually that I've started to try to figure out what the heck to do with them. again, they have no handles, but they'd be like an etched knife that's like apex core, but it's like the cladding is just slightly too close to the edge for my taste to sell.
Ah, shit. Yeah.
Do you know that kind of stuff?
Mm.
Where it's like in one spot, it's like a mil off the edge, and I'm like, I just can't sell it. Like, I don't want to sell it, you know? But it's like, it's a perfectly usable knife. I mean, for the average person, like, would probably get a lifetime out of it still, you know? Like, nearly. So, like, I don't know, what do I do with those? You know, I probably have 3 or 4 of those, because there was a period where I would say, forging kind of slightly recklessly. I think one of my superpowers is maybe my creativity, but it's also a curse. Like, being a bit insane and a bit too interested all the time, you know? Like, yeah, so sometimes I kind of go off the rails a little bit. I'm like, oh, I'll just try this layer count and this weird thickness, and I'll just forge it really thin and see if I, you know, that kind of stuff. And sometimes it works and sometimes it fails, but I guess that's the fun of it. But yeah, I have blades that are kind of results of those moments of madness.
I would just make them available for someone that couldn't like afford a full-on version of your knives.
Do you think? That feels.
Tell the honest story. I mean,
I don't know.
It's like if you sell it or, you know, give it away. I don't know, whatever. Just but sell it with the actual story. Like, hey, this is not something I would normally sell, but if there's someone interested,
yeah,
well, why not?
I could.
I mean, why are you gonna let it rust away? Like,
no. Oh, I'm thinking I was thinking about finishing them and just giving them to family members or something, you know?
You could, yeah, also do that.
Something like that.
Yeah. But
it's a funny discussion point, actually, is like that super, super, super fine line, you know, when it's like, is that good enough?
Yes or no?
Yeah, like there's just certain tiny little details.
You know, there's a ton of guys that would want it.
Yeah, probably. There actually probably are. But like, and I'm probably way too.
Mm-hmm.
But Erik is a perfectionist,
yes.
And if he sees a mistake in a knife, and I can perfectly understand that.
He also runs a business.
If he thinks it's not good enough, it's not good enough. Mm-hmm. Period. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. But he also runs a business.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, but his business is doing well. I mean, he has done some work. That's what he said.
No, but you can compare that with cutoffs of Damascus.
No, not really. It's not a cutoff of something. It's a complete knife with his name on it. And I can perfectly understand him. If it's not good enough, it's not good enough.
But my take on it is just, if the story is what the actual story is, it's not bringing his quality of knives down, or it's not taking away anything.
Oh, my thinking was like, if you sell, and I did this, that thought crossed my mind for sure, like sell it at a reduced rate, or, you know, just say what it is. Then I think, okay, people like sell knives on kitchen knife farms.
How about
like
this? Anything you do with it is better than doing nothing with it.
That's true. That's true. It's sitting in the drawer is silly, like, especially for. Maybe I'll send you guys a picture of one of them after this, and I'll see what you think, because you're probably like, it's fine. You should sell it.
Yeah, probably.
Like what's wrong with it? What are you even talking about?
All you knife makers are super anal about knives. They're like way.
I've gotten better. I've gotten better
than your customers.
Oh man, I don't know about that. I've met a couple guys who are pretty hardcore. There's some hardcore ones out there. But as Tobias said, you can't make a. Well, actually, I won't quote Tobias on here, because this is public knowledge. He can say it himself if he wants to say it. But yeah, I've met some people who are very detail orientated, as they say here.
Okay. Yeah.
which is good. It's good to a degree. But look, we're human here, you know. I mean,
It's handwork.
to bring it back to philosophy, we come full circle here. Like and it's funny because as I'm about to say this, you're going to be like, well, that's an even better reason to sell it. My mission really is to be human. You know, I'm not trying to make sterile tools. You know, I want inspiring tools. Like that is truly my mission, is to make inspiring and super useful tools. Like, you know, I'm trying to really blend the art of it and the human side of it with good geometry, you know, considered geometry, considered design, all that stuff. So imperfections are to be embraced to a point. To a point, you know. I mean, I was doing a honyaki for a customer, a custom honyaki, which I think I won't be taking anymore, actually, for multiple reasons. But a 290 millimeter Gyuto, which is a big knife, and it's a big knife to do a honyaki on. And yeah, I had a bit of time off doing honyakis. The last one I had done was maybe 6 months ago. And there's a real nuance to it. I don't know if you know much about it, or
I don't. Maybe Albert does. But
do you know what it is?
Sure.
I'm sure Albert knows what it is, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of nuance to it. And have you done any of them?
No.
Good.
I haven't.
Don't. or do. It's up to you. It's an absolute like crazy rabbit hole though. Like there's just so much voodoo. Like there really is voodoo. Like
Okay.
this is a story. If people take away nothing from this other than this story, I'll try to keep it brief. I did my first honyaki for a customer. I had been messing with it for a long time. I did my first one for a customer about 2 years ago. And it was this experience that basically drove me to say, right, get a kiln, get Knife Engineering by Laren Thomas, like read about everything, understand the science about everything. This is a science. This is not purely an art. This is an art and a science. I was trying to do a water quenched, you know, honyaki blade with a 2-brick, 1 propane torch forge.
Okay.
And like basically no thermal cycling. Like it's amazing that I actually got one successfully, but I failed 10 blades. 10. Like I forged, I got it on like the 10th one. But I had re-quenched the blade like 3 times. So I think I broke, I think something like 7 blades or something. But like, I mean, I was about to like actually just drive the car into the house or something, you know, like I was just going insane. Like, how can I, and I was like, oh, I can control this element and control this element and put less stress in the blade and like turn off all the lights, so when I'm looking at the color, it's going to be more accurate and blah, blah, blah. And it's just, like all the things were stacked against me, like water quench, like no thermal cycling, no kiln, no temperature control. I wasn't even probably paying attention to the thickness of my clay. Like there's so many factors, you know, the temperature of the quenchant. And yeah, like just failing something so many times in a row is like the quintessential lesson of knife making. It's like you have to just embrace those moments. Like that's the only way you will stay with it, and it's the only way you will actually get better. And it's so awful when it happens and you're so pissed off and frustrated, but it's like you just have to walk away from it for half a day and come back in the morning and go, okay, how can I fix this? And that was the moment for me that I went, I'm going to fix all of this with science. You know, that was the moment that I invested in the kiln and the book
Actual science.
Yeah, and it changed everything, like overnight, basically. Like I started seeing like huge benefits in every aspect of it in like straight away, you know. But I needed that failure to see that. So yeah, here I am now doing honyakis again. But yeah, look, that was like an aside story. I was going to go back to my philosophy story about imperfections. I'll tell you this quickly. I feel like maybe we're all getting a bit sleepy. Maybe, are we?
It's almost midnight.
No,
2 more minutes,
ahead.
man. Let's go.
2 more. All right. Is that a record in 2 minutes? Is it?
Yes. No.
Yeah.
I think you already smashed the record.
Oh,
So.
Yeah, you smashed it. You smashed the record half an hour ago.
Sweet. Well, I don't know. That last story was probably a good one though. Yeah, I don't know. This honyaki thing is just silly. Yeah. Look. Long story short, I did took 6 months off doing them. So much nuance, and then I think, I can just like get straight back into it, and no problem. I don't have to like worry about it. And I, of course, I cracked one in the temper because I overclamped it. Like there's just all these things trying to temper straighten it. So I thought I had one straight away. Then I did 2 more, and these are forged, by the way, hand forged, 290 millimeter blades out of spicy white, 26C3. Mm-hmm. So they're not small blades, and they take a bit of effort to hand forge. So this was 3 blades now. Cracked 2 of them in the quench. 4th one, I'm like, right, I'm adjusting everything, blah, blah, blah. Got it. Hot oil quench, perfect. I'm like, I think the hamon is a bit low because of my clay placement. This was the 4th blade now, mind you.
Yeah.
I went and I'm like, okay, I'll start hand sanding it and see where it is. And I did the full grind, started hand sanding. Like, I think it's a bit low. And I just kept hand sanding. I think it's a bit low. I don't know why I kept going, but I took it up to like 2000 grit, like perfect 2000 grit, which is not finished, but it's pretty high. And then I decided it's too low.
Fuck.
So I have a honyaki 290 millimeter blade, fully ground, 2000 grit polish, just sitting on my desk, basically next to me. And I then forged another one, quenched it again, and now the finished blade is there. But I've spent probably 50 hours on this knife,
Yeah.
Like it's horrendously inefficient. Like if every knife was a honyaki, I couldn't do this, So like the lesson learned for me was I actually love them. I think they're really, really beautiful, and I love the concept. You have to be in the mood for it, for sure. But they don't make sense to take as customs because they just put there's too many variables. Even if you follow the science like to a T, it's still not 100%. I mean, nothing is 100%, but like quenching an apex knife is like 99%, Quenching a honyaki, even if you do everything right, is like 50, 60, maybe, if you're, So it's a big failure rate. For one reason or another, if the hamon is in the wrong place or whatever. And yeah, so and I guess that's a lesson across any style of knife that you think is too many variables. If there's too many variables and you can fail, if you're likely to fail, it's not worth taking as in a custom sort of.
No, it's not. It's high risk, high reward type thing.
Yeah. Well, it's not even high reward either.
No,
like you might say, like, what did you charge for the knife? Well, I charged,
if you hit all the markers, you do it good once, then maybe. But yeah,
that's true. If it was first time, but it would still be with the polishing time, it would still be pretty efficient, So yeah, I don't think I'm going to do them as customs anymore. I think I'll do them when I fancy them and just take my time. It's because it's nice to be able to take your time on something like that as well. If you're polishing it, just do like 1 grit a week or something, just take it slow. Because when you blitz it and you try to do it all in a day or two, I mean, it's literally 20 hours of polishing, like minimum.
I could not do that ever.
No.
Nope.
So yeah. That felt very negative, though. I don't want to end on that story.
Yeah, well, it went as it went.
You're right. You're right.
No, but the more general lesson I take away from your story is that if you think something's wrong with the blade, or if there's a flaw, don't try to fix it over and over again. So just decide early that it's not gonna be able.
Before you put all
you're
the
not gonna be able to
in
fix
yeah,
it.
This is right. This is correct.
Because the way you described, or the way you told us the story, you already
you recognize this
figured
could turn into
at the
a
beginning
disaster
that it's
early
a
on.
bit too low. Yeah.
Yep, you're right.
Yeah.
And I think I just, because it was I'd already failed 3 times or whatever, it was like wishful thinking somewhere, you know, in a messed up way. Like, well, maybe if I sand it more, maybe those are just J hooks from the sandpaper, and it's actually fine. You know, I don't know how I thought it was going to change, but it didn't.
Lessons learned. Where can we find you, Erik?
Where can you find me? Well, I'm in Ireland.
Okay.
I think he meant on the internet.
You are welcome anytime.
But that's a correct answer. By the way.
Yeah, come for a pint. Seriously, you're not that far away.
I'm not.
You especially.
There's like an ocean type thing in between.
It's a short flight.
Manageable.
Yeah. I have an Instagram at Gullikson Knives, and that's my sort of main thing. And I have a website that is more sort of a portfolio, sort of just a clean portfolio, and
big ass button that says subscribe to the newsletter.
And the newsletter subscription. And I will be doing a big drop the plan is early May. I will just say early May. I'm not gonna put a date on it, but yeah. I have 12 knives planned, but we'll see what happens.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I'm especially now after this conversation, I'm a big fan of your work.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate that. Nice one. Yeah, this is really enjoyable. It's the first podcast I've done, so thanks for asking me.
It's kind of it's the longest one we've done as well. So this is great.
Yeah.
Good. Nice. We're all gonna have to chat. I actually have a bit of your steel on my shelf that I haven't even used yet.
Albert.
Yes, Albert.
Ours, really?
Your Ox Tools, right?
Yeah, Oxford's Forge and Steel.
I actually got it from Keith, quite a while ago.
Keith, the wanker that didn't show up.
Quite a while ago, because I ordered. This was I'd say a year and a half ago.
Okay. What kind of steel do you have?
It's Apex Ultra Core V2A cladding.
Okay.
And I ordered 2 QMI billets from Tobias's QMI, and he only had one in stock, but he charged me anyway. And he actually emailed me. He's like, "Oh, actually, I only have one, so I'll send you this other one instead." I was like, "Oh, okay, that's fine." So he sent me that one, and then I was on my steel rack, and it was under a bunch of stuff, and I just actually forgot about it, so I just never used it. So I still have it. So I'll have to make something.
The stainless cladding Apex Core.
Yeah. Guys, let's end the podcast and then move on.
Okay, then we'll talk in the after show.
Sure, you can end it in post.
Yeah, you can end it whatever you want.
We can cut out that section, and we can.
It's not like you have the music button.
And you can just say,
"I don't."
Where do we find you? Well, I'm on Instagram at Gullikson Knives, and
no, just keep all this in. This is nice and
it's
nice and messy.
Okay, nice and messy.
Yeah. So, but I'm gonna finish the official recording then, and we will talk in the after show.
And patrons, once again, you send Keith a message because he's very sick. I think his vagina hurts, and he'll read you guys out next week.
So thank you guys for listening. Thanks, Erik, for coming on the show.
Yeah, you're great.
It was awesome. Yeah.
Thanks, lads. It was awesome.
And we'll talk in the after show.
Yeah.
So now the outro music's playing. Can you hear it?
Bye, fuckers.
Bye. Bye.